All right. So today we are going to be taking a deep dive into, something I know a lot of you are really interested in, and that's landing a remote job.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be looking at some excerpts from this book, 1,000 Ways to Hustle,
Okay.
specifically the section on FlexJobs.
Gotcha.
And we're going to be talking about some of the ways that FlexJobs can help you get a really great remote job.
Right.
So beyond just, the usual like sprucing up your resume, keywords, all that.
Right.
I'm curious about some of those maybe unexpected advantages that FlexJobs offers, like some of the things that can really give you an edge in this whole remote job market.
Well, I think that, one of the biggest things is that FlexJobs is really connecting you with employers who are all in on remote work.
Okay.
These aren't people who are just dipping their toes in the water.
Oh, interesting.
Like, these are companies that are, really serious about it, and often that means that they're willing to pay more
Yeah, it makes sense.
for, experienced people who can hit the ground running.
So it's not just about finding any remote job.
Right.
It's about finding the right remote job
Exactly.
with a company that really values its remote workforce.
100%.
Okay, so how does FlexJobs help us find those I guess higher quality opportunities?
I would say the biggest thing is the curated approach.
Okay.
Unlike a lot of those job boards that are out there, FlexJobs actually handpicks its listings.
Oh, wow.
So they're focusing on those companies that have really strong remote work cultures
Right.
and a proven track record of hiring people remotely.
That's pretty cool.
So you're not digging through a ton of different stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of like having a personal recruiter in a way,
Mhm.
sifting through all the noise for you.
So it's like instead of a job board, it's almost like a, I don't know,
Right.
remote work VIP club or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I got to ask though, I'm always a little skeptical of these like subscription-based job sites.
Is it really worth the investment?
Yeah, I think that, again, you're paying for quality and not quantity.
Okay.
And that quality goes beyond the job listings themselves.
Oh, interesting.
You get access to a community of like-minded professionals. You get expert advice and resources. And really the platform is specifically designed for people who are looking for remote jobs.
Okay.
So you're investing in your remote career.
Yeah,
As opposed to just throwing money at some random job board.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the difference between like getting, I don't know, gas station coffee
Yeah.
versus going to a specialty coffee shop. You're
Yeah.
paying for a premium experience, but
Exactly.
that premium experience could lead to a higher paying, more fulfilling remote job.
Yeah, absolutely.
But before we get too carried away
Yeah.
talking about the perks of FlexJobs, I want to talk about, ourselves.
Yeah.
Are we even ready for remote work?
Right. That's a question that I think everyone should ask themselves before jumping into the search. Remote work isn't a magical solution for everyone.
Right.
It really does require a certain set of skills and
Yes.
mindset to be able to thrive.
Okay, so let's break it down then.
Yeah.
What are those skills and qualities that make someone a true remote rock star?
So it's kind of like the classic trio, right?
Yeah.
Communication, time management, and self-discipline.
Right.
But in a remote setting, these things are amplified, right? So you need to be a master communicator. You got to be able to convey your ideas clearly and concisely in writing and verbally.
Okay.
You have to be a time management ninja.
Yeah, I like that. Time management ninja.
You got to be able to prioritize your tasks, meet deadlines, stay focused without the structure of a traditional office.
Yeah.
And then I think most importantly, you have to be the CEO of your own workday.
So you're setting boundaries, you're staying motivated, and you're resisting all of those distractions.
So it's really like being a freelancer. Even if you're working for a company,
Yeah.
you're responsible for managing all of that.
Yeah.
But what about the more practical considerations, like,
Sure.
Setting up your home office,
Yeah.
getting a good internet connection,
Absolutely.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, those are crucial as well.
Yeah.
Having a dedicated workspace, even if it's just a corner of your bedroom or something,
Yeah.
can make a huge difference. Reliable internet connection is non-negotiable.
Oh, yeah.
And don't underestimate the importance of, good ergonomic furniture and the right equipment.
Oh, my gosh. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
I spent like the first few months of working remotely, I was just on the couch with my laptop.
Oh, no.
And my back is still paying the price for that. Now I've got like a proper desk and an ergonomic chair and a monitor that doesn't make my eyes bleed.
Yeah.
So it's a game changer.
It's an investment
Yeah.
in your well-being and your productivity.
Totally.
And speaking of investments, let's talk about making the most of that FlexJobs membership.
Okay.
It all starts with building a really killer profile.
Oh, yeah, right. Our digital storefront.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's more than just like slapping together a resume and calling it a day.
It really is. It's about showcasing your unique value proposition.
Okay.
And tailoring it to those opportunities that you're looking for.
Mm.
One thing that I think is often overlooked is the location filter.
Okay.
A lot of people just set it to anywhere.
Right.
But that can actually limit your options.
Wait, how can narrowing down my location expand my opportunities?
So by strategically targeting, smaller cities or regions that are like growing remote work hubs, you can actually tap into markets that have less competition. Oh.
And potentially higher salaries.
That's really interesting.
So, for example, instead of, competing with thousands of applicants in San Francisco or New York,
right,
you could target, burgeoning tech hubs in the Midwest or the Southeast where your skills might be in higher demand and your cost of living could be lower.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like finding a hidden gem,
right.
in the real estate market.
Exactly.
But how do I even know which locations to target?
Do your research.
Okay.
FlexJobs lets you filter by location.
Right.
So start exploring, different cities and regions.
Okay.
Look for areas that have a strong presence of companies in your industry and a growing remote work culture.
So it's like playing detective, but instead of solving crimes,
yeah,
we're solving the mystery of
right.
our ideal remote job location.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
But what if I'm one of those people who's like fully location independent?
Yeah.
Do I still need to narrow down my location?
I think even if you are willing to work from anywhere, it can still be beneficial to target specific locations based on time zone compatibility.
Oh, okay.
With potential employers.
Yeah.
Because it shows that you've thought about the logistics, of remote collaboration, and you're willing to adapt to their needs.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So it's all about being proactive and thoughtful.
Right.
Not just waiting for a job to just, fall in our laps.
See.
But let's move beyond the location filter and talk about, the heart of our FlexJobs profile, which is our skills and experience.
Yeah.
How do we present ourselves in a way that's really going to grab the attention of those like discerning remote employers?
I think this is where being very specific is key. A lot of job seekers, they just list generic skills like communication or teamwork.
Yeah.
But remember, we're going for quality over quantity.
Right.
So instead of those vague terms, you want to focus on those specific skills that are like highly sought after in remote roles.
So like give me some examples. What are those?
Yeah, so think about like the tools and technologies that are essential for remote collaboration. So things like, proficiency in project management software like Asana or Trello.
Okay.
Communication platforms like Slack or Zoom. Cloud-based document sharing tools like Google Drive.
Right.
Or Dropbox.
Gotcha.
Things like that.
Yeah.
And then don't forget about those soft skills
right.
that are so crucial for remote success. Like self-motivation, time management, and the ability to work independently.
So it's not just about listing every skill we've ever acquired. It's about like strategically highlighting those skills that really align with what remote work requires.
Exactly.
But how do we go beyond just listing them and actually like demonstrate our proficiency?
Yeah, I think this is where quantifiable results come in.
Okay.
So instead of just stating I'm proficient in project management, give specific examples of projects that you've successfully managed, highlighting those outcomes and your contributions.
Okay.
So did you deliver a project under budget, ahead of schedule, with glowing reviews from stakeholders?
Right.
Let those accomplishments speak for themselves.
Okay, so I'm seeing the power of like the numbers and those concrete examples.
Absolutely.
It's like saying, I'm a good cook versus I won first place in the chili cook-off.
Exactly.
It's very different.
Right. Yeah.
But what about those of us who, are maybe earlier in our careers and don't have, a huge list of those quantifiable achievements.
Yeah.
How do we showcase our potential?
I would say focus on your transferable skills.
Oh, okay.
So think about experiences that you've had, from your academic life, volunteering, or even your personal life that demonstrate those essential remote work qualities.
Right.
So did you manage a team project in college?
Okay.
Or, organize a fundraising event for a local charity?
Hmm.
Or maybe you successfully juggled multiple responsibilities while working part-time and getting a degree.
Right.
These experiences, even if they're not directly related to, your desired field, they can still showcase your ability to handle responsibility.
Okay.
Manage your time effectively and work independently.
So it's about kind of like, I guess, reframing our experiences through a remote work lens, and highlighting those transferable skills.
Absolutely.
Okay. I have a confession. Sometimes I feel like I'm not an expert in anything.
Yeah.
Should I still, list those skills even if I don't feel like I've really, mastered them?
I think it's always better to be honest.
Okay.
Be transparent about your skill level, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced.
Mm-hmm.
Employers appreciate authenticity and a willingness to learn.
Gotcha.
And remember, skills are always evolving.
Right.
So what you might consider a beginner skill today could be an advanced skill tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true.
With some practice and experience.
So it's not about pretending to be like a superhero with a perfect skill set.
Right.
It's about being honest about where we are
in
our journey and showing that we're eager to grow and learn.
100%.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
I got to ask though.
Yeah.
What about these keywords that everybody keeps talking about?
Yeah.
Are those really that important?
Keywords are like the secret sauce of online job searching.
Okay.
They're the bridge that connects your profile to the right opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Think of them as like those search terms that recruiters and hiring managers use when they're, looking for candidates like you.
So it's like SEO for our career.
100%.
Okay, so we need to optimize our profiles with these magical keywords to make sure that we show up in the right searches.
Absolutely.
But how do we even know which keywords to use?
Right.
It feels like, a guessing game sometimes.
It really comes down to research and analysis.
Okay.
So you wanna carefully examine the job descriptions for the roles that you're targeting and identify those recurring words and phrases.
Right.
Those are your keywords.
Okay.
Pay attention to the specific skills, sophomore programs, certifications, and even like industry jargon that those employers are using.
So it's like being a language detective or something like that.
Right.
Deciphering the code of those job descriptions.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm ready to grab my magnifying glass.
Yeah.
But should we just be sprinkling these keywords randomly throughout?
No, that's a good question.
Yeah.
You don't want to just sprinkle them in randomly.
Okay.
You want to use them very strategically.
Gotcha.
In the context of your skills and experience.
Mm-hmm.
Weave them into your descriptions of your accomplishments, even your headlines,
Right.
So you're creating this compelling narrative that resonates both with the FlexJobs algorithm and potential employers.
Okay, so keyword strategy, check.
Yes.
But I gotta say, I'm starting to feel a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Is there a way to streamline this whole process?
FlexJobs has a great feature called saved searches. You can think of it as setting up personalized alerts that notify you whenever new jobs that match your criteria are posted.
So it's like having a personal assistant who's just
exactly
constantly scouring the job boards for me.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that FlexJobs attracts employers who are really serious about hiring remote talent.
Yeah.
What makes those employers different from those who are maybe just experimenting with remote work?
Yeah. So the companies that are fully committed to remote work, they've typically invested in building a really robust remote infrastructure.
Okay.
So they have the technology, the processes, and the culture in place to really support a thriving remote workforce.
Got it.
They understand the nuances of managing remote teams, communicating effectively across time zones, and fostering a sense of community among their employees.
So it's not just about offering remote work as a perk.
Yeah.
It's like integrating it into the fabric of the company.
Absolutely.
But how do we even know? Like, how do we identify those companies?
Pay attention to the language they use in their job descriptions.
Okay.
Are they highlighting their remote work policies and benefits?
Mm-hmm.
Are they emphasizing work-life balance and flexibility?
Right.
Are they showcasing their experience with managing remote teams?
Okay, so I'm going to make a note to look for those like remote-friendly keywords in the company profiles.
Yeah, for sure.
You also mentioned that FlexJobs can help us connect with high-paying remote opportunities.
Yeah.
What makes those roles different from those like really low-ball offers that you see sometimes?
The companies that are willing to pay, top dollar for remote talent, they understand that they're competing for a global pool of skilled professionals. They're not just looking for someone to fill a seat. They're looking for experts who can bring their A game regardless of location.
So it's kind of like that saying, you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
If they're offering a really low salary, it's probably a sign that they're not valuing their remote workforce.
100%.
Okay. I want to circle back to something you said earlier about those non-traditional skills that can make us stand out. Can you give me some examples of what those might look like?
So think about like those skills that might not be directly related to your field.
Okay.
But they demonstrate like your adaptability, your creativity, your ability to learn quickly.
Okay.
So for example, if you're a writer who also happens to be a skilled photographer, you could highlight your photography skills as a bonus asset, demonstrating your visual storytelling abilities.
Gotcha.
Or maybe you're a developer who volunteers as a community organizer. You could showcase like your leadership and communication skills, highlighting your ability to, collaborate effectively with diverse groups of people.
So it's about thinking outside the box of our traditional resume, and showcasing those things that make us well-rounded.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned personal branding.
Yeah.
How do we weave that into our FlexJobs profiles?
Yeah. So, personal branding is key. What makes you different?
Right.
What are you passionate about?
Yeah.
What stories can you tell that are really going to capture the attention of those potential employers?
Okay.
Weave those elements into your profile, your resume, your cover letter to create that compelling narrative.
Okay. So I'm starting to see my FlexJobs profile as like more than just a list of my skills and experience. Right. It's like a canvas to showcase my unique value. I'm excited to start crafting my remote work masterpiece.
And that's the perfect segue into the next phase of our deep dive.
All right.
Which is crafting that remote optimized resume.
Okay, let's do it.
That's going to make those hiring managers swoon.
Ooh, I like that. All right, so we've laid the groundwork with our FlexJobs profile.
Yeah.
We've highlighted those in-demand skills, showcased our unique value proposition. Now it's time to tackle, I guess, the next big hurdle, which is the resume.
Yeah.
I've heard all about these like remote optimized resumes, but honestly, sometimes it just feels like a buzzword,
Right.
Like what actually makes a resume stand out in the remote work world?
It's not just about slapping the word remote on your existing resume.
Right.
It's really about understanding what those remote employers are looking for.
Okay.
And tailoring your presentation to address their needs.
Okay, so let's break it down. What are those key elements that transform a traditional resume into a remote work powerhouse?
So first, I would say consider the format.
Okay.
Traditional resumes often focus on like that chronological work history.
Right.
But a remote optimized resume might actually benefit from a skills-based or functional format.
Okay.
Highlighting those transferable skills.
So instead of leading with a laundry list of, our previous jobs, we lead with like,
exactly.
Here are my skills in project management, communication, problem solving.
100%.
And it doesn't matter where we got them.
Right.
It's just here they are.
Exactly.
I like that puts the focus on what we can do.
Yeah.
Not just like where we've been.
Absolutely.
And then within those skill sections, we weave in those all-important keywords.
Exactly.
Right? They're like those little beacons that are going to guide our resume to the right opportunities.
For sure.
I gotta be honest, though. I've heard about these applicant tracking systems.
Yeah.
And I'm still a little fuzzy on what they actually do.
Sure.
And how they, impact my job search.
Yeah, so think of an ATS as a digital gatekeeper.
Okay.
It's a software program that companies use to scan and filter resumes, and they're looking for specific keywords, skills, and qualifications that match the requirements of the job.
Okay.
So if your resume doesn't have those key elements, it might never even make it to a human being.
That's a little scary, honestly.
It can be.
It's like those automated phone systems, you have to go through all those menus and stuff before you can talk to a person.
Exactly.
But in this case, the stakes are much higher.
Yeah.
It's our dream job on the line.
Right.
So how do we make sure that our resumes pass that test?
I would say, first and foremost, use clear, concise language. Avoid jargon or overly creative formatting.
Right.
Stick to standard fonts, headings, and bullet points.
Okay.
You want it to be easily scannable and digestible.
Yeah.
Both for humans and machines.
So simplicity.
Yeah.
Clarity.
And clarity.
Yeah, that's key. And those key words, they're like our secret weapon.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how this works.
Yeah.
But I've heard that they can penalize you.
Yeah.
If you use too many keywords.
Right.
Or try to game the system.
Yeah, so keyword stuffing is a big no-no.
Okay.
If you try to cram in as many keywords as possible without any regard for context or relevance, it's going to trigger those spam alerts.
Oh.
And your resume is going in the digital trash bin.
Okay, so it's not just about quantity.
Right.
It's about quality and relevance.
100%.
Okay. But let's talk about the content of the resume itself.
Yeah.
How do we showcase our remote work experience in a way that's really going to, make those hiring managers sit up and take notice?
So this is where those quantifiable results that we talked about become really crucial. You know, remote employers are often more focused on outcomes and deliverables than traditional metrics like hours worked or face time in the office.
So it's not just about listing our responsibilities. It's about showing the impact that we made.
Yeah.
But how do we quantify those results in a way that's compelling and credible?
Yeah. So think about those metrics that demonstrate your effectiveness in a remote environment.
Okay.
So did you increase productivity, improve efficiency, streamline workflows, deliver projects under budget, ahead of schedule, use numbers, percentages, and concrete examples to illustrate those achievements.
So instead of saying, managed a team of remote employees, we would say something like, increase team productivity by 15%.
Exactly.
By implementing a new project management system.
100%.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's much more powerful.
Yeah, it shows that we can actually get things done.
Right.
In that remote setting.
Absolutely.
And even those soft skills.
Yeah.
Communication, collaboration, self-motivation, time management. Those can be quantified too.
They can be quantified.
We can find those situations where we had to, work independently or manage our own time effectively.
Absolutely.
And use those to really show that we've mastered those skills.
For sure.
But what if we don't have a ton of that formal remote work experience?
Yeah. I mean, remember those transferable skills that we talked about earlier?
Okay.
So think about experiences from your previous roles, even if they weren't fully remote, that demonstrate those essential remote work qualities.
Right.
So did you manage projects independently?
Yeah.
Did you collaborate effectively with colleagues in different locations? Did you handle sensitive information, with discretion, confidentiality?
Okay.
These experiences, even if they weren't explicitly labeled remote work, can still showcase your ability to thrive in that virtual environment.
So we're taking those experiences and we're filtering them through that remote work lens.
Exactly.
And picking out the ones that really demonstrate our potential.
Absolutely.
I have a confession to make, though.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel like I'm not an expert in anything.
Right.
Should I still list those skills?
Right.
Even if if I don't feel like I've mastered them?
I think you absolutely should.
Yeah.
Honesty is always the best policy.
Okay.
Be transparent about where you're at with your skill level.
Mm.
Whether you're, beginner, intermediate, advanced employers, they appreciate that authenticity and that willingness to learn.
Gotcha.
And remember, skills are always evolving.
Yeah.
So what you might consider a beginner skill today could be an advanced skill tomorrow.
That's true.
With some practice and experience.
So it's not about pretending to be that superhero with a perfect skill set.
Yeah, nobody's perfect.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
about being honest about, where we are on our journey.
Absolutely.
And showing that we're eager to learn and grow.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
But let's move beyond the skills and experience themselves and talk about those action verbs.
Right.
That really give our resume, that sense of dynamism and impact.
Yeah, so think about verbs that convey action, results, accomplishment.
Right.
So instead of using, passive verbs like responsible for or assisted with, opt for those more dynamic verbs, led, managed, developed, implemented, achieved.
Okay, so it's about showing ourselves as doers, not just observers.
Yeah,
we want to show that we can take initiative, get things done,
100%,
make things happen.
Yeah,
but is there a risk of sounding too boastful?
That's a good question.
If we're using all these these power verbs all the time.
I think it's all about context and tone.
Okay.
Use those power verbs strategically to highlight your most impressive accomplishments.
Right.
But don't force them into every sentence or every bullet point.
Gotcha.
Let your results speak for themselves and use a tone that's confident but not arrogant.
Okay, I'm practicing my confident but humble voice right now. But let's zoom out a little bit and talk about the overall structure and flow of our resume. How do we create a narrative that's both compelling and easy to digest?
Yeah, think of your resume as a story.
Okay.
With a clear beginning, middle, and end.
Okay.
Start with a strong summary statement that captures your unique value proposition.
Okay.
And highlights your most relevant skills and experience.
Okay.
And then use, your work history or your skills sections to provide specific examples of your accomplishments and contributions. Yeah. Quantify your results whenever possible. And then you can conclude with, a brief section highlighting any relevant certifications, awards, volunteer experiences, things like that.
So it's not just a random collection of bullet points. Wow. It's actually a story.
It is.
Yeah. I like that.
Narrative.
I gotta admit, I always get stuck in that summary statement black hole.
Right.
How do we create a summary that's both concise and compelling?
Think of your summary statement as your elevator pitch.
Okay.
It's your chance to make a strong first impression and capture the reader's attention in just a few sentences.
Gotcha.
So focus on your most impressive skills and accomplishments.
Okay.
Use keywords that align with the roles you're targeting. And don't be afraid to inject a little bit of your personality in there.
Okay.
Let your passion and enthusiasm shine through.
Okay, I'm envisioning my summary statement as this
yeah.
Mini masterpiece.
Right.
That's gonna that's gonna capture my unique brilliance.
Exactly.
But let's move beyond the summary.
Yeah, sure.
And talk about the work history or the skills section. How do we organize this information in a way that's logical and visually appealing?
So if you're using a chronological format, list your work experience in reverse chronological order.
Okay.
Starting with your most recent role.
Right.
And for each position, provide a brief description of your responsibilities.
Okay.
Followed by bullet points highlighting your key accomplishments.
Gotcha.
Quantifying your results whenever possible.
Right.
Using those numbers, percentages, and concrete examples.
So it's like telling a story within a story.
It is.
A story within a story.
Yeah. Each job is like a chapter in our professional evolution.
Yeah.
But what about those of us who have gaps in our work history, or maybe we're transitioning to a new career field?
Sure.
How do we address those those potential red flags, you know, in a way that's both honest and reassuring. Be transparent about those gaps or career changes.
Okay.
But frame them in a positive light.
Okay.
So, for example, if you took time off to, you know, care for a family member or to pursue a personal passion,
right,
highlight the skills and experiences that you gained during that time that are relevant to your desired field.
Okay, so we're turning those potential weaknesses into strengths.
Yeah.
By showing, you know, how resilient we are.
Absolutely.
How adaptable we are.
Right.
You know, how committed we are to growth.
100%.
Yeah, I like that perspective.
Yeah.
But let's move beyond like the main work history section.
Sure.
And talk about, you know, those additional sections.
Yeah.
That can add a little more depth and dimension to our resume.
So consider adding sections, highlighting, you know, your technical skills, language proficiencies, volunteer experiences, or even like personal interests that align with the company culture or the demands of the role.
Okay.
So for example, if you're applying for a role that requires strong communication skills, you might include a section that highlights your experience as like a public speaker,
right,
or a volunteer facilitator or something like that.
So it's about showing those parts of ourselves that don't necessarily, you know, fit neatly into those traditional resume categories, but still demonstrate, you know, our well-roundedness,
right,
our potential to contribute
100%
to the company. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But I want to circle back to something you said earlier about personal branding.
Yeah.
How do we weave those personal branding elements into our resume without, you know, sounding too self-promotional?
I think it's all about subtlety and authenticity. Use your summary statement to capture your unique value proposition and highlight those personal qualities that make you stand out.
Okay.
So for example, if you're known for your creativity or your problem-solving skills or your collaborative approach, you know, weave those attributes into the descriptions of your accomplishment and your contributions.
So it's not about bragging.
Right.
It's about letting those, you know, those personal qualities shine through.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm starting to see how personal branding is not just a buzzword. You know, it's really a way of approaching.
It's a mindset. Yeah.
Our careers.
Absolutely.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to move on to the next phase of our deep dive, which is crafting those compelling cover letters. All right. So we've talked about building that amazing FlexJobs profile. And we've talked about crafting a resume that's really going to make us stand out as a remote work superstar.
Right.
But let's be honest.
Yeah.
The cover letter often feels like, you know, kind of a dreaded stepchild of the whole application process.
Yeah, it gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
For sure.
Is it really even worth the effort, you know, in this digital world?
You know, I really think a well-crafted cover letter can be a game changer.
Okay.
Especially for remote jobs because, you know, it's so easy to just get lost in the sea of online applications. So it's really your chance to make a personal connection.
Okay.
And to tell your story in a way that your resume just can't.
Okay. So tell me more about that storytelling aspect.
Sure.
How do we transform our cover letter from, you know, this boring formality into something that's actually captivating?
Yeah, so I think you want to start by addressing remote work specifically. Why are you drawn to this work style? You know, is it the flexibility, the autonomy, the ability to focus on results without the distractions of a traditional office?
Right.
You know, be genuine and let your passion for remote work really shine through.
So it's not just about, you know, reiterating what's already on our resume. It's showing that we get it.
Yeah.
Like we understand this whole lifestyle.
And speaking their language.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I got to admit, sometimes I had a hard time like differentiating my cover letters.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like I'm saying the same things over and over again.
Right.
Just rearranging the words.
I think research is key here.
Okay.
So before you even start writing,
okay,
you know, really delve into the company's website. Look at their social media, their mission statement, their values.
Okay.
You know, what resonates with you.
Right.
What makes this company stand out from the crowd.
Okay.
And then weave those elements into your cover letter.
Gotcha. To show that you've done your homework.
Okay.
And that you're genuinely interested.
So it's like those personalized birthday cards,
Exactly.
that show that you actually put some thought into it.
Yeah.
Okay, but beyond the research, how do we structure the cover letter itself?
Okay, so think of it as like a 3-act play.
Right.
Okay, so Act 1.
Mm-hmm.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah.
And grab their attention.
Okay.
With a compelling opening paragraph that highlights your most relevant skills and experience.
Okay.
And connects them directly to the company's needs.
Okay.
Act 2. Tell your story.
Okay.
Expand on those skills and experiences.
Right.
Provide specific examples of, what you've accomplished.
Right.
Quantify your results using those numbers, percentages, concrete examples.
Gotcha.
And then Act 3.
Okay.
Wrap it up with a strong closing paragraph that reiterates your enthusiasm for the role.
Expresses your confidence.
Right.
And maybe suggests a specific next step, like a phone call or a video interview.
Okay, I'm feeling like my cover letter is going to be a mini masterpiece.
Yeah.
It
should be.
I like that.
Yeah.
But I think there's also these potential objections that might be in the back of a hiring manager's mind.
Yeah.
Like, how do we address those concerns?
So think about those common concerns that employers might have about hiring remote workers.
Yeah.
Are they worried about communication breakdowns or lack of accountability?
Right.
Or the difficulty of integrating those remote employees into the team culture?
Right. So we want to address those head on.
You want to address them head on.
Okay. But how do we do that?
Yeah.
Without, sounding defensive or insecure?
Use a confident and reassuring tone.
Okay.
Highlight your experience with remote work tools and technologies. Showcase your communication skills and your ability to collaborate effectively with remote colleagues.
Right.
And emphasize your self-motivation, your time management skills, your ability to thrive in that independent work environment.
Okay, so I'm channeling my inner remote work superhero.
Yeah.
Ready to conquer any doubt or fear.
I love it.
But I think it's time to shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And talk about the actual job search process on FlexJobs.
Yeah.
We've created our profile. We've crafted our resume.
Right.
We've polished our cover letter.
Yep.
Now it's time to dive into those job listings and start applying.
Yeah.
But there could be hundreds of jobs.
Yeah.
Where do we even begin?
So this is where those advanced search filters become your best friend. Remember all those specific job types, locations, keywords that we talked about?
Right.
Use those filters to narrow down your search.
Okay.
And focus on those opportunities that are a really good fit for you.
So it's like those those personalized shopping filters.
Exactly.
That help you kind of zero in on what you're looking for.
Exactly.
But should we be super specific with our criteria?
That's a good question.
Or should we cast a wider net?
It's a balancing act, right?
Okay.
You want to be specific enough to target those roles that are a true match, but you also don't want to be so narrow that you miss out on potential opportunities that might be slightly outside your comfort zone.
So we're looking for that sweet spot.
Yeah, exactly.
Between, specificity and flexibility.
Yeah.
Okay. So once we've done our filtering, we've identified some promising opportunities. Yeah. How do we make our application stand out from the crowd?
Personalization is key.
Okay.
Don't just send out generic applications with the same resume and cover letter attached.
Right. Take the time to tailor each application to the specific company and the role.
Okay.
Highlight those skills and experiences that are most relevant.
Right.
And use keywords that align with the company's language and culture.
So we're treating each application like its own...
Yeah, it's its own unique opportunity.
An opportunity to shine.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to admit, though, I'm guilty of, falling into that spray and pray trap where I'm just sending out dozens of applications.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Without really putting much thought into any of them. How do we avoid that?
I think it's helpful to think of your time and energy as valuable resources.
Okay.
So instead of spreading yourself thin
right.
across all those generic applications, invest your efforts in crafting a few really stellar applications.
Okay, so quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity, always.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. What about following up?
Is it okay to follow up after submitting an application?
A well-timed follow-up can be really strategic.
Okay.
It demonstrates your continued interest, and it keeps your application top of mind.
Okay, so tell me the secrets of effective follow-up.
First, I would always check the job posting for any instructions about follow-up.
Okay.
Some employers might specifically say, like, don't contact us, while others might welcome it if there are no instructions. A good rule of thumb is to wait about a week after the application deadline. Okay. Or a week after you applied if there is no deadline.
Okay, so we're not being pushy.
Right.
But we are showing, that we're still interested.
Exactly.
What's the best way to follow up, though?
Email is usually the best for following up. Okay. Keep it brief and professional.
Okay.
Reiterate your interest.
Yeah.
Highlight one or two, key qualifications.
And then thank them for their time.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Short, sweet, to the point.
Exactly.
What about LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Is it okay to reach out to the hiring manager or the recruiter on LinkedIn?
If you've connected with them on LinkedIn and had like a positive interaction, a brief follow-up message can be okay.
Okay.
But avoid, sending really long messages or repeating information that's already in your application.
Right. Okay. So LinkedIn follow-up.
Yeah.
Sparingly.
And
strategically.
Yeah, for sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Any other follow-up tips?
Yeah, don't be a pest.
Okay.
One follow-up is usually enough.
All right.
If you don't hear back.
Yeah. It's
probably safe to assume that they've moved on to other candidates.
Okay. Point taken.
Yeah.
No need to bombard them with emails.
Right.
But what if we do get invited for an interview?
Congratulations.
Thank you. That's a big accomplishment.
Appreciate it.
So, first and foremost,
Yeah.
treat it just like an in-person interview.
Okay.
Dress professionally, be on time.
Right.
And be prepared to answer those common interview questions.
Okay, so the same basic principles apply.
Absolutely.
It's just in a digital format.
Exactly.
Are there any specific considerations?
Yeah, make sure you have a quiet, distraction-free environment.
Okay.
Let your family or roommates know, not to interrupt you.
Right.
Double check your internet connection to avoid any technical glitches.
I don't want any barking dogs or drop calls.
Right, exactly.
Ruining our big moment.
Yeah.
What about the technical side of things? Like how do we look and sound our best?
Test your webcam and microphone beforehand.
Okay.
Make sure they're working properly.
Okay.
Good lighting is essential. Natural light is best, but if that's not possible, make sure you have a well-lit space.
Okay.
Avoid having a bright window behind you.
Right.
It'll make you look like a silhouette.
Okay, I'm making a note to invest in a good ring light.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
What about your background?
Yeah, should I just blur it out?
You can use a virtual background.
Okay.
If your real life background is cluttered.
Right.
But a real background is generally preferred as long as it's clean and professional.
Right.
Maybe a simple bookshelf or a neutral wall. Avoid anything, too personal or distracting.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
My bookshelf is curated.
Perfect.
And ready for its close up.
I love it.
Any other tips for making a good first impression?
Make eye contact with the camera.
Oh, yeah.
Just as you would with the person in an in-person interview.
Okay.
It shows that you're engaged and attentive.
Gotcha.
And don't forget to smile. Enthusiasm and a positive attitude go a long way.
Okay, I'm working on my best. I'm so excited to be here. Smile.
Perfect.
What about after the interview?
A thank you note within 24 hours. It's a simple gesture, but it's really powerful. Shows your appreciation and reinforces your interest.
Okay, thank you note check.
Yes.
It feels like we've really covered every step.
We've covered a lot.
This whole process.
We have.
But I have a feeling there's even more.
Oh yeah.
To this whole world of remote work.
Absolutely. There's a whole universe of resources and strategies out there for you to explore.
Okay.
FlexJobs itself has a ton of great articles, webinars, even career coaching services to help you, navigate the landscape. And beyond FlexJobs, there are tons of online communities, virtual networking events, industry-specific groups. You can connect with other remote workers, share tips, find support.
It's like we've opened this door to this whole new world of possibilities.
It is. It really
I'm
is.
feeling very inspired to kind of like take my remote work journey to the next level.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Embracing the adventure, connecting with that community, and crafting a career that really aligns with your values.
I like that.
And your vision for the future.
Well, we hope you found these insights valuable.
Yeah.
And you feel ready to launch your own remote work adventure.
Absolutely.
Remember, the perfect remote job is out there waiting for you.
It is.
Go out there and make it happen.
Yeah.
Until next time, happy hustling.